Hey, welcome to Picking Daisies, the podcast where we dive into all things messy, beautiful, and a little bit chaotic. I'm Mary Hendricks, your hot mess of a host, ready to walk with you through every laughable, cry-worthy, and grow-worthy moment. Every Tuesday, join me and an incredible lineup of fellow moms, women, and experts as they share their own stories of growth, resilience, and silver linings that they've uncovered. Together, we're building a village, a reminder that even in the thick of it, you are truly never alone. Because let's be real, we all have our mess. Everyone's got those moments. But here, we are finding the beauty in it, also the humor, and growing from whatever life and motherhood may bring our way. Welcome to Picking Daisies. Are we recording? Are we here? Are we back? Hi. Oh my gosh. Hello, Picking Daisies. We are back. Oh my gosh. Can you guys believe it? It's been a long time. If you are new to the podcast, I would recommend going back. Although, actually, yes, go back because it's an evolution of sorts. I'm figuring all of this podcasting stuff out. And can I just tell you, it's very, very, very interesting because it is kind of like the wild, wild west a little bit, where anyone can have a podcast. Like you right now, if you have a passion, if you have something that you so desperately would love to talk about, you can have a podcast. It's just that you have to really know how to market it and you really have to know how to push it out. And that is all very, very, very new to me. And also you have to have a structure and you want to create a show worth listening to. And I think for now, I am doing exactly that. And that is why we are back. So hello, welcome back to Picking Daisies. We are here. It is me, Mary Hendricks. And I am so excited. I'm so excited to be sitting here with you guys. Although I have to tell you in full honesty, it is the day before release. So this is fresh off. I tried to be so on top of it. And I was with like other guests and I'm going to get into everything and we're going to have this as a solo episode. So we're going to catch up, go through what to expect and kick off and really introduce what is ahead for this relaunch, this new season, this new everything. But my brain just shut off. Oh, Jesus, Joseph and Mary. Oh, my brain shut off, guys. What was I saying? I can't go back and I'm filming this on video. I can't go back now and look and see what I was saying. Let's all sit here and think together. I don't know. Oh, you need structure. That's what I was gonna say. Can you guys see that? I'm sorry. Is that concerning? Is that an issue? Should I be going to the doctor about that? Or is that just mom brain? Because I wasn't always like this, but I feel like my brain is just done. I don't know. I think it's melted. I think it's like waved the white flag a long, long time ago. And now that white flag is like completely disintegrated. It's just waving a stick, just saying like, help me. I don't know. I don't know what happens, but it could also be that I mean, you know, I smoke some spot stuff. Mary Jane. I don't know. Maybe that's why. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, I was talking about structure. So with podcasts, you really have to have a good structure because you don't want it to be a show where I am sitting here and my brain just walks out of the room. You don't want that because you want your listeners to be engaged. You have to have a purpose. And I think when I kicked off the podcast, I really kind of just went in with the push and not with a plan because I had my Instagram page and I was looking for other ways to be able to create more content. And so many people were asking me for a podcast to create longer content. And so that seemed easy enough to do. Again, I am sitting down in my basement. You guys should see my setup. I've actually, if you watch a future episode with one of our guests, I display it, but on stories from time to time on the Picking Daisies podcast, I will show my setup. But I have my computer, my mic, I have my little studio area that I've recently just put together, but my computer and my camera and everything are on top of a cooler right now. So it's nothing fancy. Anyone can do this, like I said, but not anyone can have a show. And that's where I really wanted to take the time to put this together. And I am doing this last minute. Although other guests we're not that way. I have others already pre-recorded. I'm trying not to do it too far ahead. That way it is as close to real time as possible, but I am trying to build in more structure with this show. That way I am not leaving it for last minute. I am not having to do it the day before, which is what I'm doing right now, but that is what I'm going to explain. And then we're going to get into kind of just like catching up where I've been, what's been going on with this past year that we have not been doing podcasting, and why I came back and what you can expect and all of that jazz. So first and foremost, to explain why I'm doing this last minute, even though I swore to myself that I wouldn't, even though I swore to myself that I would. So to explain why I'm doing this last minute, the day before the release, is because I originally had planned to just record a quick little intro podcast just to say hi. And that would have been easy peasy. And I could have done that today. This is going to be a longer episode than that. But unfortunately, there was another podcast episode that I was going to be airing from someone else's podcast that I was honored to be asked to be a guest on. And we got really honest, but not scary honest, not cringe honest, not anything that you would ever really question. I don't know, because I've covered subjects like it. We were covering mom rage. We were covering PMDD, ADHD, really hard moments of motherhood. And we put out our intro reel and someone did not like the honesty. And so there's a little bit of a pickle and we have to hold the episode until we know we can air it. And I really hope that day comes because it's so good. It is so good. I that's why I wanted it on my podcast. I wanted it over here because it was just such a good, cathartic, honest, real, raw mom conversation that I think every one of us so desperately needs to hear. But the fact that we can't even share it because someone took it and was probably having a really fucking shitty day and did not like the honesty, has ruined it for everyone. And that's what's so frustrating. And that's why I'm here, because I really want this podcast to do something that others are not, which is get to the point, get to the thing that everyone is saying inside their head, but no one wants to get out loud because we are so afraid that we are the only ones. And I'm going to tell you, you're not. You're just simply not. But that is also a really hard thing to do because some people really are not used to the honesty. People, I've talked about it frequently, honesty and negativity are not the same thing. It's just that we are so not used to the honesty that we paint it as negative. We want to hear the roses and want to hear about the butterflies. We want to hear about the rainbows. But when we hear about the rainstorms that have to create all of those beautiful things, suddenly it's too much. And we're never going to make any of this better if we don't allow ourselves to speak openly without fear of repercussion, without fear of judgment, without fear of shame, to just be able to say it so we can actually fix it. Like you can't fix a problem if you don't admit you have one. And we're not giving people the space to do that safely and empathetically. And it's just very frustrating. So all that to be said, that's why I'm recording this episode, and I'm going to make it a little bit more of a deeper one to fill in because I have other ones already planned. I just don't want them to come out quite yet because I had a plan in place. So that's okay. My littlest started preschool today, so the house is quiet, and that's actually the best thing ever. That's why I'm getting back into podcasting, which leads me into talking about the pause. So we've been gone for over a year. No, a year exactly. I think I stopped in January of last year, and I said, I need to take a break. I need to put a pause on things. I was doing everything myself. I did have some assistance, but it wasn't enough. And to be honest, I'm really shitty at being a delegate. Like I really do not like being a boss. And I'm learning how to do that a little bit better. And that's like one of my New Year's resolutions. I'm not a big resolution gal, usually, but that is one big thing that I'm trying to do is get better at being a boss, like not like the cheesy boss girl or anything like that, but there are so many things that I want to do that I think I've just convinced myself I can't, or I don't have the time for, I don't have the whip band for. I don't, I can't do because I'm just afraid of accepting the help or whatever it may be. And at this point, I am done with that. And I'm really trying to get more structured with myself, more clear minded, more focused, and just really make this dream be exactly what I want it to be, a space for all of us. For me, I'm selfishly doing this all for me because I have so much fun doing this. I'm trying to fix my bangs, by the way. I'm like looking in the camera as I'm recording this. I got bangs. Did I tell you about that? We're not going to go into that subject. I have ADHD. Okay, Mary, focused. Shit. But then my brain turned off. I don't know. I was talking about something with the end of the year. I'm just trying to be focused and I feel like I'm in a really good place. But that's why I paused it because last January I wasn't. I really, really wasn't. I don't know how to describe what I was in. I think all the years of grief and perfectionism and expectation and false ideals. I don't know what it was, but last year I feel like I just bottomed out. I think everything just weighed on me where I could not do it all. And I think also PMDD has been a big strong factor, but I'm going to go into it further, but like PMDD, I have premenstrual dysphoric disorder. It is a hormonal disorder that causes severe mood swings. I've been dealing with this. I talked about it. If you haven't heard that podcast, I have one from before I took a break, really going into it because I was diagnosed last October of 2023. So I've been navigating that, but I think all of that plus the PMDD can stand on so many things. That's what elevates it. I think it just was standing on so many things that I came crashing down and I could not. I could not. I had to stop. I needed to just get back to square one. And I just needed to get back to being a mom. I needed to get back to doing the thing that I initially set out before all of social media. I needed to get back to the thing that I had always dreamed about doing, which was just staying home and raising my kids and doing that. And I didn't have much time doing that before getting into the world of social media. So I trickled into it of being just a stay-at-home mom, living on that one budget and not being known by people, not creating content, not putting myself out there. And I started doing that and my page started growing unexpectedly when my second was 18 months. So I didn't have that much time of that simplistic world where I wasn't always thinking about something, other than mom life. And I looked and I was like, I want to go back to that. And I want to see what that's like. And I still obviously had social media and whatnot, but I needed this to pause because I had to look and say, what can I let go of right now? Like ideally. And I can't let go of social media. I couldn't take a whole huge pause like I did the podcast because at this point it is a job and it's the thing that supports this endeavor and it supports my other endeavors that I want to pursue. Those are the things that bring me passion, but it wasn't a passion anymore if it wasn't feeling good to chase after, and that's where I was. I was so bottomed out that the race felt impossible and I needed to rest before I could get back in it. So that's what I did. And I have been working on myself and honestly, I feel so good. I've never felt better. I'm still working on things though. So I still have my ups and downs and I'm still figuring things out. I'm kind of putting the pieces back to a puzzle that I think is always going to be shifting on me and changing, which is going to be different. And I think that's the thing is like, we always talk about healing and no one's ever fully healed. Like you never talk about someone being like, I healed this. Like we're always healing. Like we're always going to be navigating new thoughts and new emotions and new chapters. And I think all of it brings out new emotions that we have to sit with and really digest and make a part of ourselves. Like that's really what it is we have to come to terms with a lot. And that's what I've been doing this past year is just really figuring out myself. But yeah, I got diagnosed with ADHD. So that's where I really left off, was me getting diagnosed with ADHD, PMDD. PMDD was first, and ADHD. I finally started on an SSRI this August. So that was another thing that really has boosted me back into this spot. So for anyone here considering an SSRI, it is not a be all end all. It is not a Band-Aid. I've talked about, well, actually, I haven't recorded a podcast episode on this. I wanted to. I recorded a piece of content about this, but I, for the longest time, pushed off all of that stuff. I was trying to heal naturally, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm still trying to do that, but I realized finally it wasn't enough, and I finally started on an SSRI, an antidepressant, and it's like I've been given a new pair of glasses. And I don't know how long I'll be on it. I don't know any of that, but for what I know now is it's needed, and it has brought me back to life. So I can actually do the things that I want and put in the good pieces of care that I was so trying and so desperately to do for myself, but I was so depressed and so anxious that I couldn't. So it's, if you want to look at it as a Band-Aid, sure. But a Band-Aid has a purpose, and whatever way you want to look at it, it's all meant to help you heal. That was like my biggest thing, because, for the longest time I bought into the stigma of it being a Band-Aid. And that was the biggest thing for me, and in a weak way. Like, for everyone, for some reason, I kept hearing from a lot of people that antidepressants are bad, and they're a weakness. And if you take them, you're not strong enough mentally. You just got to work on your brain and all of that shit. And no, I finally realized that sometimes it's just the way our brains are, and it's chemicals, and it's a lot of different shit that sometimes we can do everything for, and it's just not enough, and we need a little store-bought. And you know what? A Band-Aid, if it is a Band-Aid, if at the end of the day, that's what we want to say it is, a Band-Aid serves a purpose. Band-Aids, but you think about a wound. People sometimes tell you, if you have a cut, leave it open and let it breathe so it can heal. Well, guess what? Not all wounds can do that. Some wounds are too deep. Some wounds are too bad. And if you were to leave it to the elements, it would get dirtier. It would get more infected. It would get worse, and you would get sicker. And so you have to cover it up in order for the correct healing to occur. And that's the way I've viewed it, where I'm, and that's what I tell people is, if you're going to hold the mindset of it being a Band-Aid, which I'm not saying it is, I'm just saying that sometimes it's a really hard thing to break away from with the stigma of mental health. But if you're going to hold that mindset, remind yourself that Band-Aids have a purpose too. Okay. And it's not all bad. So if this is the sign that you need, if you've been on the fence, if you've been trying everything and you just feel like it's not enough, try something. Go to a doctor. Be honest. Be not okay. And let someone know about it, because shit, I wasn't for a very long time, and I didn't. And it almost ate me whole. So that's that with this past year. Things have been good on the social media front. I don't have too many complaints. Sometimes I get tired of it. Like, I don't know, lately I've not been on there as much as I should be. I don't know. You know what? It's changing. I'm be curious to see what happens with TikTok if it does end up getting banned. But I don't know. I've just been balancing it out, because, like this podcast, I don't want to get to a place where it's not a dream anymore. If it's a nightmare to upkeep, then it's not a dream. And that's the biggest thing for me. So what's ahead? So much good stuff. This theme, I'm going to try sticking with theme. And I think I'm going to just kind of make it the theme of the show. But Picking Daisies always was this theme, essentially, was honesty with a silver lining. Like, I didn't want to just bring people on to just talk about really hard stuff and then leave it off with that. I want to share the good and the bad and the in between. Like, that's all I want, is to share the black and the white and the gray. And that's what I want to continue to do. But I really want to encourage and leave you guys with this idea that you can bloom wherever you're planted. That's the great thing about daisies. That's what makes daisies so incredible, is that daisies really are such a resilient flower, and they really are very flexible, and they figure it out. That you could plant them in a pile of shit and they will still bloom and they will still look beautiful. And that's why I love them, and that's why I want the show to be named them, and I want the theme of it to be grow through what you go through, because we all go through shit. No one here is untouched by anything in life. And I want us not to, find a toxic positivity in anything, but to be honest and sometimes like just make the positivity itself, just knowing that you aren't alone. Like that in and of itself is the benefit here, that sometimes, yeah, we're not going to leave off and try to spin some bullshit, perspective your way, but we are going to, if we can, we will. If we can leave it off on a really good perspective shift, awesome. But a lot of the other times, no, you're just going to hear stuff that is very quote unquote relatable. That's just going to be like, oh shit, it's not just me. And you're going to sit there and you're going to take a exhale of relief. And that alone is all I want for this podcast. That's all I could hope for, is that you are sitting wherever you are, folding laundry, driving your car, listening with headphones on while cooking your kids' dinner, whatever it may be. I don't know. I just hope that you get something out of this podcast each and every time that just means you're safe. You're with people, even if you're not, you're with a community, an invisible one that may not be with you in person, but I guarantee you is in spirit. So that's what you can expect. We're going to be talking marriage. We're going to be talking sex. I'm going to be having a doctor with her PhD who studies plant medicine, cannabis related products. She is going to be coming on very soon. I'm so excited for that. I'm obsessed with her podcast. It's called Bioactive. Obsessed. I'm a frequent gardener. People, we're going to get into that. if you're not catching on, if you haven't caught up on Instagram, I've been covering a lot of pieces of the very merry life. There's wink, wink. I've been sharing that portion of myself that's always been here, but I'm a quote unquote pothead, and I love it. And it's because I've benefited so much from it, especially this past year. If you're wanting to explore this, if you have a significant other, friend, family member who maybe is, part of the stigma and really stigmatizes it, go listen to that podcast. You yourself, if you are thinking, oh my God, Mary is an drug addict, and you right now are judging the shit out of me, please go listen to it. Okay? Do me that favor. But I'm going to have her on, real moms. I'm open. If you guys have any guest suggestions, please send them my way. But what's really important is that each and every guest that I have coming forward is going to be sharing their honest truth, and obviously offering some pieces of advice and some sort of expertise. Some guests are going to just be real people that have no expertise other than, again, reminding you that you are not by yourself. But I'm going to have other experts on that will leave you with something that either encourages you or inspires you or educates you, whatever it may be. And it's all going to be geared to the point of growing through what we go through. And we're going to help each other do that, because each and every day we're doing exactly that. So I'm so excited. It's going to be an ebb and flow. It's going to be lighthearted. It's going to be deep. It's going to just feel like you're sitting with a good friend or two or many. I don't know. Sometimes I'm going to hopefully get panels on. I've really loved doing that when I can get multiple people on. So we have a lot in store for Picking Daisies, 1 episode per week, just because I'm trying to keep it nice and slow. If life changes and I'm able to do more, then maybe we will bring back more. But for now, we are just going to make this one hell of a fucking podcast, and we are going to have such a good time. So anyway, cheers. I got a mug here that says clusterfuck because that is me, and I own it proudly, because messy is just a detail, not a definition. And I want you guys to remember that as you go and start your day. And that is it. So go pick some daisies, bloom where you're planted, and tell someone to go fuck themselves if they judge you today. Okay? I should have left that more on a positive note, but that just came out of nowhere. I don't know why. No one's judged me lately, but I'm sure someone is listening to this. Are you? Don't do that. Okay. Anyway, that was a weird outro. Goodbye.
All right, Mama, that is a wrap on today's episode of Picking Daisies. I hope today's chat left you feeling seen, understood, and maybe even gave you a good laugh along the way. As we all know, motherhood isn't easy, life isn't easy, but it's moments like these where we can connect and share our stories that really help make that load feel a lot lighter. So if you enjoyed today's episode, it would mean the world to me if you could take a moment to leave a rating and review. Your feedback not only will help this show grow, but also it will make sure it reaches other moms who might need that same dose of honesty, humor, and heart. And don't forget, if something in today's episode resonated with you, share it with a friend or hop on over to Instagram or wherever you connect on social media and keep the conversation going. I love hearing your stories and being a part of this journey with you. Thank you for being here and for showing up for yourself. And then, of course, sharing that space with me. So until next time, remember, we all grow through what we go through. You've got this, Mama. I'll see you next week.